personal finance is everything. Should I be taking Grab? Should I be driving a car? Using another app like Tada or Gojek instead? There's so much more. And brands need to go beyond just a finance brand.
Welcome to the One Day at a Time podcast, where we take things one day at a time. Today in the studio, we have Dawn.
Hi everyone, my name is Dawn, or some of you might know me as SG Budget Babe. If you've been on this journey, thank you for your support for all these years, and here's to more.
Nice. Okay, Dawn, can you do for those people that have never really come across you, can you do a quick introduction for them?
Yeah, sure. So, my name is Dawn, and my newest identity is a mom of two boys. But I have actually been creating, and I wouldn't say I'm a content creator. I prefer to say I'm a writer because I was trained. And I did my whole studies in like comms and writing, journalism, right? Yeah, so I see myself more as a writer, and I started 10 years ago. This is actually the 10th year.
Oh, wow.
I started 10 years ago, a decade ago, on blogs. I know nowadays it's all about social media, but I started on blogs, Blogspot to be accurate, and then I migrated, right? So it's just like writing is just something I love. And I started out I didn't start out wanting to be a finance writer. It wasn't something like, I am going to be this, it's just more, I want to write, what should I write? And then the conversation that happened with my ex-boyfriend, now husband, is that he said, you just write what you've been talking about with your friends. And it just so happened that at that point, I had reached a milestone in my life where I had saved 20,000. I was pretty proud of it because I was still like a fairly fresh grad, young working adult, right? So I was like, okay, so since everyone, all my friends have been asking me, and this has been our live topic for the last 2 weeks at every single catch-up, then I will just write my article on that. Yeah, so I started my blog with that, and unexpectedly that went viral. I only shared it on my Facebook to my friends, right? But it unexpectedly went viral. One day I woke up to tons of WhatsApp messages, and it was all my friends and ex-schoolmates who I'm not spoken to for in a while, and they were all like, you are the talk of my office right now. I'm like, what's happening? Like, did something happen? I don't understand how virality works. And back then, I think viral was not really a word either.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Not 10 years ago. No, now it is, but back then it wasn't. So like, what's happening? What caused it? And then like the traffic had just spiked, and people were just talking. And then I was getting like interview requests from, news outlets and stuff like that. So I was kind of just thrown onto this journey. But people, as a writer, you love it when people love your words, right? When there's an audience, when there are readers. So my next article, my second blog entry then was responding to some of the reader questions that came out from the first article.
Right.
Yeah, and it just happened that way for like the next 10 articles maybe. And then before I knew it, I was like, hey, it's all finance already.
So that's how you became a finance writer.
Yeah, and then it's like everyone just wanted to read what I had to write and say and share about finance and my own personal finance journey. And then that's just how things evolve. Yeah, and then so that's my blog, Budget Babe, and my brand that has really just morphed into something of its own over the years. But now I also co-host a podcast that you were on recently called White and Shine, and I think it's a great next stage on new addition to what I do because
like
after
an extension,
while,
right?
Yeah, you get a bit bored of personal finance, right? Like I love personal finance. I'm still very passionate about it, but I am more than just that finance girl, and I want to be recognized as beyond just that. There's so much more I can contribute. So White and Shine is something that has been really wonderful because we talk about personal development, self-growth, career, dealing with difficult people, how to optimize your life, how to strike a balance, stuff like that. And it's things that I will ramble on my IG or Dairy, just all these thoughts. But now it's actually making something out of it into podcast episodes, and I love that. So now people are like, oh, Dawn, like, I never knew you could give such great career tips. I'm like, thank you. It's actually more than, I'm really more than just that finance person, right?
But wow, I actually didn't know. So basically, your entire journey kind of started because your very first post went viral. That is actually absolutely insane. Right? Even in the I don't know if olden context is the word to use, but even back in the day, like 10 years ago, on I don't even think Instagram really was like a thing back then, right?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Like to have your first post go viral is something that is like absolute. It's like really like win toto lah. You won the lottery, right? And it kind of gives someone the conviction, or rather like the confidence that, hey, actually this is something that you can explore, right? Because imagine if like most writers, or like in these days like content creators, like you make like video after video after post, and after like 1,000 posts you're like, hey shit man, nobody watched my thing. So
Yes, I know.
you might get demoralized lah.
I know.
So like having like some kind of recognition, even though it might not be at a scale of like like today, a TikTok video goes viral easily, you can get a couple million or something. Even though it might not be at that scale, to have like people texting you and say like, hey, like I saw you on this article, someone's talking about you, it must be quite empowering, right?
I would say even if that didn't happen, I was quite lucky. I would admit that. So but to be fair, I have thought about this question many times. Even if I had turned back time and if that post didn't go viral, I would still have written at it. Maybe the only difference is, the second article wouldn't have come about that quickly, because it'll be more of like, next time I meet my friends, what's the next topic that we talk about?
Right.
Maybe I want to put it on my blog. But instead of that, it was more of I was getting the feedback not just from my friends, which are a smaller circle, but internet people as well, which is a way bigger. Yeah, you get a lot more feedback, so you act and respond to things faster, and then that just set the tone for everything else. So I would say yes, I was lucky, but I think at the end of the day, luck can only bring us so far.
Agreed.
Yeah, and a lot of it is, even if that first post doesn't go viral, if you just keep at it, someday you achieve a certain level of success, right? Like I just came from a meeting with Nasir, Nas Daily, and everyone knows his story. He's that guy who created one video a day, and he told himself he's going to do it for like was it 1 year or something?
A period of time.
And he really did live up to it, even though at the beginning only his friends watched his videos, right? And then now you look at him and he's like 4 million or like multi. I don't even know how many million, like numbers that we know most people wouldn't even see because they don't last that long.
Absolutely.
But eventually you will reach some level of success if people resonate and value what you are putting out there.
Right.
And I think like even if people don't get lucky right from the beginning, just stick at it. Eventually you come.
So you started writing, and because of the first post that went viral, you kind of assimilated into the role of talking about budgeting, personal finance, and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
So after your 10 articles, 20 articles, at which point did you think that like, hey shit man, this is becoming like a real thing? It's no longer like play, like when I feel like I write, it's becoming like a little bit of a part of your identity almost, right? At what point did you feel like, hey, this is something that I might be doing for a long time to come?
I think there wasn't a moment when that feeling sank in. Yeah, it was more of like I started it because I was feeling a bit sian at my job. Not bored of the work, but in the sense that I was like, I'm a writer.
But
and
you
all
just
I get to
started
do
work
is
at that time.
Yeah, I was in my third job by then already.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm a writer and all I do is write emails.
Right.
And the only audience is like the email recipient and maybe some BCCs and CCs, but that's it. I want to be in a role where my words can reach more people. I can write more. I want to write more, And then that was when my boyfriend was like, then you set up a blog lah, right? You want to write more. What you want to do? Just do. I was like, true. Just write. And so the blog started out as a fun side passion project. And I think we must also understand back in that era, 10 years ago, being a KOL, content creator, influencer, whatever you want to call it, was not really a thing. In that era, perhaps the only person who was making money were Xiaxue and Chu Chu.
Yes.
And maybe that was about it. Everyone else, it was more of like you're like a online celebrity, but you do things like host shows as well. You're on MTV or you're on Clio or stuff like that. You are a media personality, and it just so happens that you also have your own blog.
Absolutely. Right? Being an influencer wasn't really a thing at that time.
And it wasn't a career.
Correct.
I think the only one doing it full time was maybe Xiaxue, but Xiaxue also had her show going on.
Absolutely.
Right? But today, like people people starting out, it's a very different thing. You guys have a different privilege in the sense that younger folks now know, hey, this is a real path. This can become a career. There are things that have been already charted, like you know how to monetize. People are more open to paying for such content. I'm amazed there's things like UGC nowadays. There's no such thing back in those days. The only person who can earn from making content was literally like 下旋风 Chu.
Yeah,
right?
because
And they charge you like
volume,
money to put.
Yeah, they really have the volume.
Correct. And any other blogger, you're not gonna be able to earn or charge anything for your content. You just write for free lah.
Like at that time, did Google AdWords type of thing exist? You know, like clickable ads on the website, blog.
I think if I were to think back, yes, it
Probably,
did.
right?
But I didn't install it until maybe like the
later lah.
third year, maybe when someone told me I should do it. And even then, like we all know lah, Google Ads is it doesn't earn a lot.
Of course.
Yeah, especially when you come from publishing, you really don't earn that much because it's not very optimized. And let's get real, how many of y'all go to the website and you really click on the article offered to you by the ad? And back then, we might remember, now it's a bit more savvy. Now the tech has advanced to the stage where let's say you're reading a food article that Google ad or publishing tool, whatever, can recognize you're interested and offer you similar interesting thing. Hey, back then don't have, okay?
Yeah, definitely
You're
not.
on a finance blog and they offer you things that are completely unrelated.
Yeah, fast food or something.
Yeah, nobody's gonna click on it. So it's not that zai anymore. So it's a very different era. So most of us, I don't think we really like thought of, and definitely not me. Yeah, it didn't really become like my identity. It was just like I'm in secret. I own and run Budget Bait. I write there for fun. It's where I put my non-work stuff.
So then at what point, because you've been a writer for Budget Bait for like 10 years already, right? So at what point, at what mark, did you feel like, hey, this is becoming legit? You know, like this could be my second career, or it could eventually be my main gig type of thing. Like, at which point did you feel like that you start to have that kind of thought? Because things change and progress over the years, right?
It was a combination of my own journey and the changing market landscape. Yeah. So in that 10 years, I forgot at which year exactly. You might know better, right? But at that stage, there was some point in the revolution where content creators now are not being seen as bimbo people who don't really know, just pretty people, right? They're now a bit more respected and starting to see as more legitimate. Advertisers start being more open. Yeah, and as the scene changed, then the money starts flowing in, and I'm a finance person.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm all about the money. Like, no money, no talk, right? I can write, and even if I have, let's say, like 1 million audience, which total I do 20 million is the number now after 10 years. But it's not like, let's say every day I have 1 million people watching me. It doesn't work that way, right? But let's say even if I had 1 million people watching me every day, it's not like that's going to translate into immediate earnings, right? You need to find a way to monetize. And for me, I think that only started happening in maybe the third year. Because from the third year onwards, like I had a lot more articles put out. And in a way, your blog is like your CV, right? People can see the work that you do. And then I started getting offers. Brands were reaching out to me and say, hey, we loved finance content that you put out. Do you do corporate stuff? I'm like, no, I don't, but we can have a chat. What do you have in mind? So my first client was actually a bank, and the person said, I'm your reader. I love what you do. I want to do something for my bank as well, but it's going to be ghostwriting lah. So your name and everything is not going to be there. Yeah, like I will give you the title, the article topic, and you just create, and we're going to host it on our bank website. And like, how much do you charge? And I had no idea, right? And back then, you must understand, in those era, because there's no benchmark. What you do is you go on websites like Fiverr and all that, right? Then you see how much do writers charge per word. Then you just benchmark that. They charge 50 cents per word. Okay, lor. Then I'm like, okay, so for like a 800 word article, that would be maybe like $400. But then the bank will be like, but I'm a bank. They got more negotiating power. You're just one more fry, right? And you're the first time gig. So they'll negotiate, and it was a very, very cheap rate. Let's just say that. It was so cheap until today you offer me the same gig, I will never do it. But back then, it's a different scene. So that was the third year. And I did it. I wrote, I think, 8 or 10 articles for that bank. And then after that, the scene started changing, and more brands started to be more open to engaging finance writers. And I think we need to separate also. We must understand that the lifestyle, fashion, beauty people were ahead,
Yeah.
right? Brands were
Definitely.
always more open to work with this niche.
The audience is slightly bigger lah.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way, right?
Correct.
Yeah, the
And
audience is slightly bigger.
before me, I think this is quite accurate, but maybe need to fact check a bit. But if I'm not wrong, right, before me, no finance creator had ever been sponsored. Ever. I was the first. Yeah, so I
the
broke
OG,
a lot.
OG.
Yes, thank you. So I was the first, and it helped because I came from media background lah. So some of these started from connections because my peers were like, "Hey, you're in finance. I joined a finance company. Is this something that we can do? We're doing it with the lifestyle people, but I think they're not so appropriate. You'll be a better person, a brand for the voice and everything." I'm like, "Oh yeah, like explore." So I started the sponsored stuff for finance writer. I got a lot of hate for it, by the way. Yeah,
Of
people
course,
were like,
at that time,
all
yeah.
the finance creators were like,
It's like,
sell out.
Yeah.
She's a sell out. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with being paid for your work.
Yeah, I mean, you're a finance writer, you're gonna make money, right?
Correct. And I come from media, I come from advertising and journalism. It's just a fair exchange, right? Why should I work for you for free? Why should I promote your brand for free, right? Like, at least pay me for my time.
Yeah.
So I started it, and then the scene started to mature lor. Yeah, then as the first one comes in, other brands are watching also. They're like, oh, that can be done. Then they'll come, hey, I want to do something similar. So more started coming in, and then I would say like by 20, what really helped was the pandemic, because as numbers and personal finance really came to the forefront of awareness.
2019, 2020 kind of period. Yeah.
Correct. So by then, the shift was that it wasn't just finance brands that were sponsoring and doing work with us anymore. Because how many finance brands are there?
Correct.
So little, right? It's
but getting more and more. Like these days, we really have a lot more finance related things compared to like 5 years ago.
Yes, but
right?
it's still very little. The real market is really in
The
more
general
than just
consumer.
finance. Because if you really think about it, personal finance is everything. It's the Grab fare that I paid to come to this studio. Right? Should I be taking Grab? Should I be driving a car? Should I be using another app like Tada or Ride or Gojek instead?
Yeah.
There's so much more. And brands need to go beyond just a finance brand. And I'm like, I'm selling something, but there's a price, and hence it's finance. But it took time for that to mature. And we're still not at that stage yet. So I would say it's still a work in progress. Things are still changing. But I think what has really helped is, so the woke salaryman started after me.
Right.
And I love them. We're good friends now. And it's funny because like one of their initial posts, if you go back into their archives, when it was still very much words and less comics, they did mention me, and they said like, I read Budget Babe and she hit the 100K milestone. So I know it's doable, and then I hit it too, and blah blah blah. So after they came in and they were like, because they quit their jobs, right? To do the work salaryman full time, and they changed a lot of it. Yeah, because they came from the scene as well. They came from doing all these deals, and they were able to get in more brands that were non-finance per se.
Right.
Yeah, and that is slowly opening up the opportunities for us. So at this stage, I still run it as a side hustle. Yeah, I still have my day job, which surprises most people. But I think when it will strike me as, okay, I'm going to leave and do this full-time, will be a question of what do I want to give up? Because it's always a trade-off, right? And right now, I like my life where I'm building a corporate career, and it gives me a sense of fulfillment there.
Right.
A different type of fulfillment. It's not passion, deep, burning fire, but it's a different type, and it has stability. I can relate to employees. So when I do personal finance, a lot of my audiences are employees, right? So I can relate, and I can create content and help you on how I handle it as an employee. But yet, because I also run my blog, and it has started to monetize with all these great stuff that I'm very blessed to have coming in, then that's where the self-employed aspect comes in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And things are changing. So I would like to keep it as long as I can for I don't know how many more years we'll see, but I guess the bigger question is bandwidth lah.
Correct.
We only have 24 hours in a day, so
Absolutely.
one day things has got to give lah.
Yeah, okay. So one question that I'm very curious is that, okay, I know that we previously mentioned that in the finance niche, it is not as blooming as some other niches like beauty, gaming type of thing, right? Like, gaming writers, beauty writers, or content creators, they have a little bit more of a market because there are more brands and more audiences. So in the finance space, or rather just in let's not talk about video content creators lah. Let's talk about like writers like you, right, who have their own blog or website. How do people generally make money apart from having brand deals, so for example, some of the stuff that I personally know is, like Google AdWords. It's not a lot, but still is some money there. You have like, your brand deals where people come in, you write a dedicated article for X amount of money. And I from what I understand, there are quite a lot of writers who make a majority of their income from affiliate links. Like you have a blog that like goodreads.sg type of thing, and then like you link your Amazon affiliates and whatever type of thing, right? So for you personally in your journey of writing and having bantering with other writers, how do you think most people who run blogs make the income, and what is usually for most writers the largest percentage in terms of how they make money from their blog?
So there's no fixed answers. Yeah, and what we must understand is this is still a new changing field. So I was part of that generation that was charting these uncharted waters, trying to carve our paths. So there are some who have gone down the affiliate route, and it works fabulously for them. So you can have some people who can tell you like, oh, all my earnings are only from affiliate, and they're very proud of it. Right? There are such
absolutely
such people, such creators, and then there are also others where they're like, affiliate doesn't really work for me. It's more of like the sponsored articles that I get. And then there are some others whereby, sponsored articles also not so much because I don't want to write what the brand wants me to write, and I don't want to negotiate with them to tell them I insist on keeping this in. I'm not going to delete it like you tell me to. I have a lot of those conversations.
Right,
so they may then go down other routes instead, like ghostwriting for the brand. So like you can write against your own morals, but it doesn't matter because it's not your byline. Right? No one knows you are behind the article. You can say like invest in an ILP, even though you are on air and everyone else you're like don't invest in an ILP. But you can write stuff like that because people when they see the article they don't know you are actually the writer behind.
Ghostwriting,
so there are many ghostwriting. So there are many different ways. For me, I did experiment because it's all about experimenting and then figuring out what works for you, right? And what has worked is, so now I have two. I have Instagram and I have the blog. But let's take Instagram out of the mix first because that's still quite new for me.
Correct.
In the beginning, it was really just the blog. So it started with ghostwriting. Then it started with sponsored articles. And then I realized I could make more and control more as sponsored articles and feel less of writing against my own morals.
Right.
So I then cut out the ghostwriting and I would insist more on these sponsored article deals where I'm like, you don't want to put this in? The deal's off the table. And the brand like, but you already did so much and we're going to pay you. Are you sure you're going to walk away? I'm like, yes, I'm going to walk away because I have a full-time job and honestly, I don't care about this money. My reputation's more important. Right?
Sure.
So
long term.
Yeah, that was the bigger thing for me. And then after that, someone said, why don't you try affiliate? So I tried affiliate for a while, but I realized that affiliate works for some but not for others because I think for finance affiliate, right, you need to keep pushing. And after a while, I'm like, I'm just saying the same thing over and over again. You should sign up for an account here. You should go and buy this, buy that. And
free stock from her.
I'm like, it's so boring. I don't like. And then there was the other issue of because I'm a one-woman show, how to track. Right? When you do an affiliate, I think what many people don't know, it's so nice to hear like, wow, he or she earns X number of dollars every month from affiliate fees, but they don't understand how difficult it really is to track. So one problem for me was like I had this realization happened when I had this affiliate deal, and then at the end of the month, the client would just tell me how much and they'll send me the details, ask me to invoice, okay? And I was like, wait a minute, this thing went viral. We did so much work together. I had an entire article, we did events, we had webinars, and you're telling me that only X number of people signed up and converted, and all I earned was like that $300. It just didn't translate, you know.
Right. So like, it could be either like it really didn't convert or that the brand
tracking
was
broke.
Right. Somewhere along the way the brand did not capture the
Yes. And I'm like, okay, so now that then raised the question, hang on, what about everything else? I'm like, how do I know if this is, I'm looking at this now and it's questionable, but I didn't look at the rest.
Right.
So how do I know when the brand is really like being honest or they are withholding, and I have no control because I don't own the trackers and everything. They can say, oh, we'll share with you, it's very open, but I don't own it, right? They have ultimate control. So after a while, I'm like, you know what, if I don't want to have this, because it sucks away at my energy.
For sure. And the amount of effort it takes for you to do that for that $300, like the ROI doesn't make too much sense for you.
Correct. So in the end, I was just like, I don't want to do affiliate already. And affiliate, the very other painful thing, is you have to keep updating the link, you know. The client keep asking you, hey, your article from 3 years ago, can you please update? And I'm like, Do people even read that 3 years ago article? It's outdated already. And the client will say, no, you need to update. And the stressful part, please update by next week.
So you have to scroll and then like do all the updates, copy paste.
And then not necessarily earn any money.
Yeah,
but I
for
need
sure,
to do
for
it and it's very abrupt because they just suddenly throw it on your plate. And I'm just like, I'm going to have this policy for the sake of my own sanity. No more updates. So it's changing, because you have to respond to how the market works. And you can say and do one thing, but then if your peer does something else, the client can say, "Wow, she's offering this, why you not?" And then it becomes a negotiation. Yeah. So I think content creation is like that. Right now the scene is still evolving until we reach the stage where it's very clear cut. It's still going to be a lot of experimentation.
But I guess it will always be like that, content creation, because the platforms are always changing, right? Like now TikTok is like the thing, but I'm very sure in a couple of years or even earlier, like there's gonna be something new. Like the platforms evolved from, Facebook to Instagram to like all the random ones in between, Pinterest, TikTok, whatever. So like the scene will keep changing, which means the way that you organize your business, your partnerships will also keep changing, because the creators and the brands will need to keep adapting to the platforms also, right? Yeah, so there won't be I don't think there will ever become a time when this is the way shit works. Because in the good old days when things are slower, internet speed slower, and people have time to think and adapt and come up with some kind of blueprint, right? But these days in social media or even content creation or even writing, like platforms change. The brand objectives change and creator styles change. So like hardly anybody has enough time to come up with like a blueprint, right? And then by the time you come up with some kind of model, right, it change again.
Correct.
And this other person revolutionized this thing, then everybody follow, right? So it's but I am.
But there are benchmarks lah. Right. And to be very fair, there's all those like marketing conferences where as much as we creators talk, the marketers also talk ma.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure,
and they say like, hey, you got engaged so and so. Yes, I did. How was the campaign? Wow, sucks leh. I paid her this amount of money. How you pay her so much, but she charged me so little. Hey, how come not fair? They also talk.
Right.
And then they learn after a while, things change. Like for instance, one thing that was very common in the past, which I hated. I had a lot of clients tell me like, oh, but you only have like 5K on your Instagram. And I'm like, I have 18 million on the blog. Different. You look at different platform. Don't use the Instagram number on the blog because it doesn't work that way. Right. And they don't understand. They insist. They're like, oh no, but someone with like 10 times your following is charging us this price.
Then you go with that person?
It. Yeah, and that's why I literally said that. Well, if you believe that they're a better fit than for what you need to achieve in your budget, then you should be engaging them. But if you think that I'm a better fit, we all have different pros and cons, right? And I think my strength, a lot of it was really in conversion, because I protect my reputation so strongly and fiercely. I have left thousands of dollars on the table because the client changes their mind and say, in the beginning. So I always tell clients upfront, you want to work with me, can, but you must understand one thing about me. I'm all about pros and cons. You don't just sell the pros. That's what everybody does. That's what marketers do, but I don't. I am not your advertisement vehicle. I'm here to help my readers, my consumers understand the pros and cons. And the only way this is going to work out to both of our benefits is you be very honest. Because everyone knows there's a trade-off all the time. So we tell them and they go into it with an intellectual decision to make. I can accept the trade-offs, but I like the benefits, so I'm going to sign up. And these are the best conversions. So I was all about that, and this was stronger on my platform than I would say most people, most KOLs or content creators out there. But clients couldn't appreciate it.
Right.
In the beginning. Now things are changing. Now they really realize, because I have clients tell me feedback like, we engage you and this other person who has 10 times your following. Wow. But you sold 20 times more than her.
Right. And you compare the KPI and then you see lah, right?
Yeah, then I'm like, ooh, so how much do you pay that person? Then they say, oh, we pay her 3 times more than you. I sold 20 times more, but you paid that person 3 times. Not fair, right? Next time you pay me more, okay?
Because at that time, that was the benchmark, ma. The ultimate figure that people see on the surface.
Correct. Then Xia Xue came in with her whole social blade article, video. And then that forced people to wake up and like, oh, wow. And then things started changing. And it's still changing.
Correct. Yeah, because the fact of the matter is not all marketeers are so in tune with the data analytics and understanding like the importance of conversions and engagement, because for a lot of marketers, I think their KPIs to their reporting officer or whatever is just the superficial figure lah.
Yes.
Or how many XX views. Like I mean, there also are influencers in the past, and now people are smarter, right? But they sell you the whole package. I charge you 10K and I guarantee you 1 million views. Then you go and buy the fake views, and then yeah, right, and that kind of sort of thing. So it's damn super good business model, man. If you can sleep at night and you can live with doing that, then like freaking free money,
I just had
right?
that same conversation with someone, because like this person was asking me, so she runs a small business and she sent me and I'm like, I don't want to take your money. Okay, you just send me, I do a PR shout out for free lah. Okay, you support you because I like you and all this. So she said like, hey, Dawn, can you advise me? I want to engage this person, this micro influencer, and she's charging me this amount. Okay, but then she had done one post and you had one post, so I do have some benchmark. Her post got X number of views, which was a lot, by the way.
Right.
But I got 0 sales. And then I had you, where I got X number of sales.
For free.
Then I had this, for free. And then I had this other thing also with someone else who did it for free. Just so happened, lucky lah, right? Came to our booth and all. And I got Y number of sales.
Right.
How come, But I paid the influencer and then she got, like, how come? Then I was explaining, I was like, oh, the views are. So I showed her this DM that I got recently where someone was saying, just pay $5 and we can give you 10,000 views. I'm like, I don't know. You ask her to give you statistics, but most people also hold back, right? So,
of course.
So it's like things, as people get smarter, they learn.
Absolutely.
But a lot of it is also educational and it takes out a lot of time, honestly. All this negotiation, the liaison before the deal becomes a deal. So at this stage, I'm like, it's not my full-time gig now, because if it is, then I need to do a lot more of these kind of negotiations which tire me.
Correct.
I just want to be like, you recognize the value.
Right.
You want to engage me, you engage me, we work together. I don't want to argue and negotiate.
Yeah, because if this is your full-time gig, writing will probably become like 30 to 40% of the job. The remaining will be coming up with packages, brand deals, replying emails, and setting up meetings and then that sort of stuff, right?
Yes.
And then I guess
that's when it gets boring.
It kills the passion.
Yes. Now it's the other way around. Writing is 60 to 70% of what I do. And all these negotiations, I just take it as and when they come. So it's a smaller percentage.
Because
and I like it that way.
You built it this way such that you have some sort of corporate safety net that you are able to make the passion the main thing rather than the aim. So like somebody like say who is a writer or finance content creator like you who made this their main gig, they would not have that option anymore because now that's their main source of income, right? Even if maybe the brand and their relationship isn't super good, but they need that revenue, man. Because at some point, if this is your full-time gig, maybe you have an intern, you have like a content writer to pay. So it's not just about you anymore, right? You are the leader of your own pack. So it's different now. So now you have the freedom.
Correct. So it's pros and cons, lor. Yeah, so my trade-off is I don't have a team, it's all me, it's tiring, it gets tiring, but the benefit is I get that freedom and flexibility and control. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm quite curious for this especially because in the past, right, visual content is more limited. People were reading stuff, right? People were subscribing to like email blasts,
Yeah,
like
because your telco plan only 500 MB ma.
Yeah, correct. So it's just words like even the article itself got limited pictures one.
Yeah.
Right. So like I don't know, I was subscribing to like email updates of stuff like I don't even know what I was reading, but like people were reading a lot, right? But then when video became like a thing, especially like vertical video, like during the YouTube days, people watch YouTube when they have their computer or iPad, but these days people watch videos on like mobile devices because vertical, right? So when Instagram enabled video and then after that the whole TikTok thing, like the vertical videos or like IG stories, right? Vertical videos became a thing and people moved towards consuming more visual content, visual audio kind of content. So based on this, right, based on the logic of this, the amount of attention given to written content must have decreased because a significant amount of people have gone to basically consume video or audio content like podcasts, right? Right. Because like when you're driving, you can't read a Budget Babe article, but you can listen to a Budget Babe podcast or something like that, right? So do you think that blogging, like traditional blogging, like a Blogspot, Tumblr, WordPress type of thing, right? Do you think blogging is dead?
I don't think it's dead, but it's less than before for sure.
Mm.
But actually, I think the bigger, so it doesn't fundamentally change anything for me, except that maybe the money will be less and less, right? Well, it's okay because you see, that's why it's not my full-time gig. So I care less about these kind of things. I just write, and you like my writing, you just read. Okay, but I think I'm a writer fundamentally, so it doesn't change. Right, I can write on different platforms, but some platforms are not so much. Like you try and put your essay on Instagram, on TikTok. Sorry, it doesn't work that way.
Because it's not a platform where people read lah.
Exactly, it's not meant for that. So you need to create for the platform, which is very different per platform, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I will still always write. That's true to who I am. But I have also challenged myself by growing. That's why I took on the podcast host. And I also have been challenging myself to do more videos. It's still not second nature to me. I think people who are very good in front of the camera can see that, yeah, she's a bit awkward sometimes, but I do get better.
No, I think you are really good, man. I mean, you have gotten, I watched some of your videos also, your older videos, and I think you have gotten like a lot better, man.
My old videos so cringy.
Because you're not used to
you're not
used to it yet. Correct. But now you're so used to it.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
So and we can always get better. Like I can think of many ways that I want and wish I could get better. So there's always improvement. So it doesn't change anything for me. But I think the bigger question to ask is this the death of reading? I don't think so. Yeah. I think there will always be writers. There will always be readers, but the percentage of attention they command will then change.
Yeah,
and
right.
I did study. I did take a course in NIE before because one of the many different career options I was exploring last time was to be a GP teacher in the actual JC lah. Right. And I love teaching GP, by the way. It's so similar to what I do, writing, argumentation, standard. It's everything you see all linked one, right? So anyway, and while in that module, I learned about how people learn. So there's 5 types. I don't remember all the types, but there is the person who learns by audio. So that kind of person when studying, right? And this was one of my friends. She would read out her textbook to herself, I'm like, wow, your voice and your throat not pain, meh? Not dry, man. Then she keep drinking water. I'm like, just read it in your head lah, your little
But she needs
voice.
to hear it.
Yeah,
right?
she needs to hear it, So she'll walk around reading her bio textbook out loud. Then I'm like, wow, very, very distracting. But that's what she needs to do. Then I had another friend who's very visual. So what she does is she create mind maps to look at. And I'm like looking at mind map like, you spend a lot of time,
Yeah.
Then I tried. Cannot lah. I spend so much time designing and doing a mind map. I just read faster, right? Then there are those like me where I just read the textbook, just highlight only. Then the most like I create notes, but my notes is all words. Once in a while, maybe some graphic here and there for the more chim content, but it's all words. It's super wordy. And then you also have those who are. What have I covered? We've covered audio, we've covered visual, we've covered reading. There's also those who learn by doing. Yeah, some people, no matter how you explain to them, cannot.
Correct.
Yeah, they need to see.
And then learn.
Yeah, they need to learn. And I think that's actually a lot of us with tech, right? I cannot read a tech manual nowadays.
Yeah, I don't.
I need to watch the YouTube video, the person unbox, then she press and say, okay, I do at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah, correct. So like there's a market for each. And I think what we're learning is everyone has a standard, has a default style that works better for them. I know mine is reading. I'm a wordsmith. Yeah, I learn through words and I read and I create through words. And that's how I learn and improve. Some other people is through audio. Some other people is through video. So I think there will always be these different platforms.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not like you said, it is not as prevalent as I think there's a good 3 to 4 years where like there was just a lot more reading because that was like the main source of content consumption.
Yeah, after the Gutenberg press, right?
Yeah. It's like everything. I think there was a point in time where like Googling things was like a thing, right? So when you Google like how to, then the article comes out, then you read it. That's why like that's how SEO became like a thing, right? But these days it's different. Like people like us still Google things, but I know people like my students who don't find stuff on Google and they find stuff on TikTok.
Yeah.
It's like how to on TikTok, right? Then you see the video, ma.
Yeah.
So
and that's amazing, right? For people like us who grew up in the Google, just Google era.
Yeah.
And I'll share with you something interesting. So I only just noticed this. Nowadays, even when we Google, do you realize the Google results change? Now got video, got shorts, got YouTube video, got the news, got the articles. I'm like, wow. And nowadays, even got like TikTok and Lemonade content.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, last time don't have. It's really like blog, website, newspaper. That's
like
it.
Everything.
And it's changing.
Yeah.
So we don't know. It's so many things are changing. We just got to adapt. I would say the easiest way to think about it and how I think about it is I look at what has happened in history. And you know, once upon a time, if you are on television, you are a celebrity. You're like, everyone knows you.
Yeah, right.
Like
celebrity.
Fan Wong is more popular than Lee Hsien Loong.
yeah.
In that era.
Yeah, can't deny that.
But today, you ask your students, they know who Fan Wong is, meh? Right? And then like then you don't say Fan Wong lah. How about you talk about like the actresses of today?
Right.
Okay, let's what's an example? Or like Xiang Yun and Edmund Chen's daughter or kid, for example, they are also in acting now, right? How many people really know them? But everyone knew Xiang Yun and Edmund Chen. Because we used to have that TV in our house and it's a habit. Everyone tunes in at the 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock drama, then news is at 10 o'clock. It's like that's the habit, that's the go-to. Right. But today nobody watches TV.
The rules have changed. Like these days, right? Like Lawrence Wong and Chan Chun Sing more popular than the actress and actress because they do TikToks.
Yeah. Right. Like wow, we would have seen that coming.
Whether you agree with them or not is another thing. But people actually know them and they know that like they make content or like the intern makes the content lah. You know.
Yeah.
But,
or like you have some MPs who are not like super prominent in the ministry or government work, but they are more popular than your other ministers who do more important things because they are more social.
Correct. They are just their PR game is just just damn good.
Yeah, so things have changed and I see it that way because last time if you were an actress or a singer, you can command big money. Your endorsement deal, right? Hello, look at Vivian and Pokka. How much the other deal? It's like 6 digit, 7 digit kind, okay?
For sure.
Today your brand deal, sorry lah, 3 digit, 4 digit, 5 digit. Yeah, and it's changing. And I see it as that way because like long time ago also journalists were very respected. Because a lot of journalists went to really do investigative stuff.
Correct,
they get killed, like the ones reporting on the war now and all that kind of stuff, right? Lots of respect.
It's a legit profession. I'm not saying that it's not legit these days, but like
the respect it commands is less.
Correct.
The attention is less. Yeah. So same for all these celebrities on TV, less, right? I think the same is happening now. Honestly, if Richie Ko, who is a fantastic actor, by the way, I'm so impressed by his acting chops. If he was born earlier and was like the Edmund Chen era, I think he's a household name. But he's so good now, and how many people know who Richie Ko is?
Times have changed lah.
Yeah,
right.
His talent is so fantastic. But because his talent is not him creating videos on YouTube like Jian Hao Tan and the rest.
Right.
Even though he's such a freaking good actor, he's just not a household name.
He's got the chops, the technical skill, but he might not be on the right platforms for the technical skill to be able to bring him certain things lah.
Yes. Or like you also look at Korean dramas. Last time you're a Korean drama, nobody know you.
Or rather, you know, like these days, like I think locally there are like some TikTok content with like very very bad acting that like get really go viral type.
Yes.
Right. But like people seem to consume and enjoy that type of content a lot more than professional acting these days.
Yes.
Right? Like the really like anyhow the acting is really like super, you know, like zero chops one. But like it has its own entertainment value, I guess, right? That people somehow enjoy.
Last time as a writer, in my time when I first started, you must be perfect English, okay? Otherwise, all your haters all come and correct your grammar. And I got people questioning my grammar. I'm like, then I was so sure because I'm a GP teacher.
Right.
My grammar confirm correct. I go and Google and correct the person back. Correct, okay? Here's the grammar rule for you. That's me. You don't know that I'm a GP teacher. Yeah, but like nowadays, you bad English, broken English, Singlish, mixed English, also can. You can be a writer.
Because it's I guess relatable in a sense where like, okay, like this person like that, also can invest stocks, also make 8%, 10%, 20% a year. I also can. So, you know, like it's a different...
The metrics change, right? Last time you must be very chill to go viral on Instagram. Right, must be sexy, big boob, chill. And then I'm sorry, Lao Niang here not chill, you know. I always tell my husband, I will never be like the chill boo one. People will never say don't wear chill one. At the most, you'll be like, yeah, she's pleasant looking, she's okay, but I'm never like the school belle. You know, so I thought that I confirm won't go viral on Instagram one. But I think things change.
Yeah, correct. Right. The standards of how people perceive beauty and like a burners has really changed in the past couple of years.
Now you show your big belly, you get more views than your flat belly. Wow, things changed, leh. I mean, when you come back 5 years ago, no such thing, okay? Your fat belly, people say you're ruining the aesthetics of Instagram, get lost.
I think things have really changed.
Yeah.
And do you feel like, because I think there are a lot of people like you who have a lot of really, really valuable things to share, right? But a lot of all these people, they might be like you in a sense where like, I'm really like a writer lah. I don't want to make videos talking about what I love, I don't want to make vlogs. I just want to write. But maybe like the barrier of entry, even though it's really, really low now, it's super easy to write like anywhere lah, like Lemonade, Pinterest, website, Squarespace, WordPress, whatever, anyhow can free account, right? But maybe like there's more resistance to start writing also because maybe there's this thought in people's minds that like, should people are consuming like video or audio content it's either you start like a TikTok, a YouTube, or a podcast.
Yes.
Writing is dead. I think a lot of people do have that kind of thinking. So if there are any people out there who are very keen on writing an article or blog about what they love, might not be finance, right? It can be like crocheting. It can be like starting like a recipe blog, for cooking. What would be your advice to them?
So I think the advice would be, do you want to do what gives you views? You must know what you're doing it for. Because if you want fame, then you go on TikTok. Right?
But not guaranteed also, right?
Yeah, not guaranteed lah, but the discoverability there is higher.
Right.
Okay, or you go on YouTube. No, actually now it's TikTok. Not even YouTube already, right? It's TikTok,
right.
Okay? Or maybe YouTube Shorts are they fighting, see who win the battle lah, right? Okay? Or do you want to be, you want to just be true to what you like. So you like crocheting and you like writing, then you would start a blog. And it doesn't matter if only 10 people read it. But you feel cherished by the 10 who do read it. And it's like if that 10 becomes 100, it's great. But if it doesn't, it just stays at 10, I'm also as content. Right? So I think the bigger question eventually that people need to ask is, what am I really doing it for? I know what I'm doing it for. I'm doing it for the fire. The feeling, the fulfillment that I get when people write to me and say, your blog has really changed my life. I got out of debt thanks to you. I started investing and I have earned X number because of you. I'm closer to retirement. And I love that kind of impact and legacy that I leave behind.
Right.
So that will be why I will continue writing. It's great that now there's money coming in. Whether the money will trickle out, reduce, increase, no one knows. It's up for debate.
It's question mark,
But whatever counts, you just take it.
Right.
Okay. But a lot of things will also say no lah, right? Okay. But at the end of the day, I think also it's important mental health. Yeah, because the big challenge now I see, and I face a lot of stress from this, is should we be on all platforms? We had this conversation also, right? Like, should we be on TikTok, Instagram, and Lemonade, and YouTube, and everything?
It's usually thousands of the platforms these days.
Yes, and after a while, it's like you could be a very good writer, but you're not a video person.
Right.
So in the older days, you would be a journalist or a magazine writer, but you would not go and work in like
radio or
CNA.
TV. Right?
Yeah, but nowadays, like if you are a one brand shop, right? You need to do all of that, and it's tiring, It eats away at you because if let's say you're the introvert and you like writing, but you really don't like video, it sucks a lot of energy out of you. How much energy do you have left then at the end to really do the things that will fuel you? And is it making you too tired out? Yeah.
So essentially, I guess the idea is that whatever you choose to do, whether it's writing or video, you fundamentally have to enjoy the thing.
Yes.
Right? Because if you don't, then at some point like burnout will surely happen.
Correct.
And everything will just crash and burn, and you would lose that spark essentially.
Correct. And I think a lot of people nowadays, they want the fame. Fame is nice, it's sexy, it's attractive. But what will having that fame get you? Why do you want the fame is the bigger question to ask, rather than I want to be famous, right? Why do you want to be famous?
Right.
Is it because you just want to be recognized on the street, you want to get a brand deal and monetize out of it? Or is it because you want to impact more lives and the fulfillment you get from impacting more lives is the bigger thing? Then if that's the answer, even if you become famous but you cannot monetize, the brands don't want you, doesn't matter what.
Correct.
Right. But if you say you want famous, then actually the real deal is you just want to get more money.
Right.
Even if you get 10,000 people writing you say you changed my life, but you have no brand deals, you're going to be very sad.
Right. You know when you're saying that, I was thinking, last time there's this phrase called rich and famous. But these days, right, there are a lot of people who are famous but are not rich.
Yeah.
Right, everybody can be famous these days. Make it very easy to make a viral TikTok video, or rather easier than last time, right? But how can you monetize it, and how does it fit into your overall bigger picture or passion or brand kind of thing is something that I guess not as many people have figured out yet. Right? So there are more famous people than rich people these days.
Yeah, correct. And I would say also, fame is a double-edged sword. Sometimes you want it, and then only when you get it, you realize, actually, I don't want it. But it's too late already. People know you
You're
already.
there. Yeah.
So like these are all very big questions that people should answer before they go into the content creation game. Yeah, because your blog can easily be, you may have wanted starting out just for your friends, like I did.
Right.
Then
It became, I mean,
Yeah.
you are pushed into the direction that I guess you were destined to go lah. Sometimes you want a certain thing, but like, you know, life pushes you another way, and then you just roll the boat with the flow, right?
Yeah, this is why I believe in God. Because like you can go out there and strategize and be very good at planning how to get to a goal, a destination. But I wasn't like that lah. And I feel like for me, everything just kind of fell into place. And I'm blessed in that way. But it's like Einstein had this quote, right? The more he dug deeper into science, and you would expect scientists to be the most atheists, but Einstein said the more he dug into science, the more convinced he was that there was a God. Which religion, we leave it debatable, never really say that, right? But like, maybe that could be one way of thinking of it. Yeah, and I don't know, because I certainly didn't plan to go viral. When people ask me, I do get some like budding KOLs or content creators want to be, and they write into me and they say like,
sauce?
yes, what's your secret sauce? What tips or what strategies do you have to achieve the level of success or virality that you did? And I'm like, never leh.
Just do lor.
Yeah, like my only advice is you must love it, you must be proud of your work, and you just let everything else fall into place. Then they say, no, I want your secret. Like, did you SEOA? Do you use like this tool and then you search what's the most trending word, then you weave that into your articles and blah? And I'm like, no leh.
Yeah,
I never leh. I really never do any of this back-end research or preparation. I just create what I want to read. And I was lucky that what I wanted to read was also things that people wanted to read. Yes, and it went on like that. Yeah, until today, that's still something that I live by, right? Like if I'm going to put out a piece of content, I'm like, will I watch this? Yeah.
So by your own standards, you basically curate your own content by your own standards.
Yes, that's why you won't see like me in a sexy boob showing off, because I won't watch that kind of content.
Right.
Yeah, that's not something I will put out either.
Right.
And I'm like, I will cringe when I see this kind of content. I don't want my kids to watch it. I won't watch it. I don't want my husband to watch it, so I won't put it out there. But I guess like people who do that, if they're comfortable and that makes them happy, I can understand why they do it. But we just have each different choices, right? Then I wouldn't like, you know, like do a lot of makeup videos, because after a while I feel like, actually you see me so often, you see my eyeshadow color always the same. Right, then maybe my palette end already. Then I'm like, see what new brand got new discount, then I try new one lah. But I just never change. Then how long has it been since I had this hairstyle? I never changed ma. I don't see the need to do videos of like get ready with me and do new things, because I don't change. But someone who takes a lot of pride and their identity from like being fashion forward, you know, whenever you see me, I'm very impeccable. Then they create that content. I can understand. And once in a while I can consume some of those content, but it's not something that I personally every day will consume. Yeah, so I think working with this is healthier also for our mental health. Yeah. You create things that you are proud of. And I look at everything I do as a legacy.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing it on. I think that was very, very insightful, and there's very interesting perspectives lah, because not many writers come out to share about, you know, their personal experiences and stuff. And if people want to connect with you or like, you know, start reading again, where can they find you online?
So my blog is at sgbudgetbabe.com, and then for socials, I'm very active on Instagram. I also run a community at nas.io/sgbudgetbabe or budgetbabe, depending on what you're looking for. Also, go onto my Instagram to find out. Yeah, but I mean, as a writer, before we end off, I want to also ask you the same question. Like, when you consume my content, what do you like most about it? Must disclaim first, what's your learning style? You're the video person, right?
Yeah, I mean, okay, I think I'm a bit of both. Like, I think we had this conversation previously where I think there are certain types of content that is easier to learn on video. There are certain types of content that is very data-centric, very analytics centric, that I think it's easier for me on word lah, like a table form, or like word, like visual rather than video. Yeah, so I think it depends on the content.
Yeah, that's why you see mine is all writing lor.
But to be frank, for me these days when I watch or read finance content, is a little bit more of entertainment lah, because at some point I think when you have been investing or like into personal finance for a decent amount of time, you develop some kind of like autopilot mode, like autopilot style kind of thing, right? So like the less you touch, the better it is, sort of thing for me
Depends.
lah. Yeah, correct,
So
correct.
if that's
It
your
depends.
style, so
Correct.
you would then gravitate towards that route. But there are also other
Correct.
people who are very active investors
Correct,
or
yeah.
who are active traders. Well, yeah, that's exactly it, right? Because like for me, I'm all about like investing, doing deep research, finding companies, looking at their financials. And this is not really something that you can find from the video.
For sure. I think it's different. Like for me, I think those are important. I think when you're investing in the macro, right, whether you're buying funds or ETFs, I think it's still good to have a little bit of a grasp on like, what's this company up to? Because this company makes up 5% of the fund I'm buying, right? So there's still gonna be some impact lah, right?
Yeah, and you would read, right? You won't watch a video for it.
It's good to know. It's good to know, right? But am I going to sell my S&P 500 just because this idiot make a stupid, this CEO made a dumb decision? Like probably not lah. You know, that's why for me personally, over the years of trying different types of investing, doing dumb shit and stuff and losing money, I realized that actually the best investment for people like us sometimes for non-financial influencer people and non-financial content creators, right? I think it's really just invest in your business and yourself, because the growth, the potential growth, exponential growth is a lot more than your potential 10%, 20%, or even 30% type of thing lah. You know, so I think investing in yourself and your skill set allows you to go a bit further. And when you have the skill set, you don't need to worry the company crash, because anything, right, you can always go out there, get a solid job and build and things like that. So in terms of the investment part, I have taken a little bit more of a passive stand. I would say like a little bit like a 70-30 lah. 30, you know, there's still a part of my portfolio where like I like hand itchy.
Yeah,
then like
itchy hand, want to trade, want to buy and try.
I read the articles, I'm like, if I don't buy, then like, you know, so I go. But like a majority of it is just, you know, every month you just dollar cost average, gyro, go. Then wait 10 years, 20 years, and you know, and along the way, you know, you diversify your portfolio into different asset classes and stuff lah. But there's still a part of my I mean, that's why I watch a lot of like video content on finance and read a lot of content, because it's my interest lah, whether I touch the asset or not. I enjoy reading it. Shiok ma.
Exactly.
Like, fun
so
ma.
that's why like investing and personal finance is so personal, right?
Yeah,
so you're
absolutely.
investing in a way that has worked for you. But here's another example. Someone who is not an entrepreneur, who is not a business owner, is in a pretty good job that pays pretty well, but it's not going to be enough for them to retire because of inflation and 9% GST.
Yeah.
So what they want to do is they want to invest, but maybe they don't want the passive index because they don't want to just be at market rate. They want to do better than market rate, and they have like, you know, lots of friends around them who have made and who have been able to retire passively on dividend stocks,
Absolutely.
REITs and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So they want to do a bit more active stuff over there. And it's not wrong, because if they invest the same effort into their job, what's the max that they can climb? Maybe to GM, to COO, because they'll never be the owner of the company.
Correct.
And that's it, but it's still not enough. But for others, if they were to, on the other hand, if they were to invest time and energy and effort into investing and finding all these, like the next Tesla, the next Apple and all this, that could really exponentially like supercharge their portfolio. Especially if they put in like enough hard work, due diligence and research into it. It's not that difficult, honestly. So then these people would be wanting to read content, right? They wouldn't watch as much finance entertainment. They really go hardcore reading. And then this is where, like, you know, my sites, my blog would serve them well. And then yet at the same time, there's also those beginners like, what is this adulting 101? I don't understand. I watch all these like credit card videos, but I still don't know what is a good credit card. And then like when I watch 5 credit card videos, it's 5 different videos and each talk about how good the card is. I want, is there like a all-in-one, I compare side by side thing? Then that one you will go to the website ma. Right. So different consumption.
Different content for different audiences lah.
Correct.
Because I guess, you know, like I think I had this conversation with Kelvin, Kelvin Learns Investing also, and he's saying that, you know, like his content, like people graduate from his content, right? He kind of get people into the whole like, hey, actually you can take finance into your own hands kind of thing, right? Then after a while you're like, okay, I know what Kelvin talking about already. Then you will start to look for maybe more sophisticated content, right? Not saying that Kelvin's content is sophisticated, but it kind of opens the door for people. It does a different thing for people, right? Whereas your content is impossible to read for somebody who has no idea about the different asset classes, the different you know, like I mean, some of them I think maybe is readable, but it's like for your style, you do a little bit more deep dive, and it's really not for everybody lah. It's really not for everybody, because some people don't even know where to begin, right? They don't
Yes.
even know how to sign up for a brokerage, right? So it's like, heck man, you tell me all these analytics, right? And it's like, what use does it
Which
have
is
for
why
me,
I've
right?
also changed. So over the years, instead of just being a writer, I did get those feedback, which is very spot on. So then that's where I also like, I have like 600 over or 700 over articles on my blog, but this is the first time you're here, so you don't know what to read. You don't know where to begin. So that's where I have launched like a course.
Right, the where
I've
to start
launched,
kind of thing.
where to start. I've launched roadmap, and I have like free courses versus paid courses. So that's all sorts of resource management, I would say, in this lifestyle where there's so many things competing for our attention. You don't have the bandwidth to read 700 articles. Then there's a shortcut for you. There's a free shortcut. There's a paid shortcut. And it's all just down to the individual then. So I think the bigger question that all content creators, including myself, need to answer is, what do we want to create? On what platform? For what purpose? For what reason? And how do we move along as things shift?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's quite exciting because the conversation will keep moving and keep changing. And I guess that's also why we do what we do lah, because it's exciting lah, right? There's some excitement to it lah. If the way that you blog is the exact same 10 years ago, then you probably get bored of it at some point, right?
Yeah, so I've changed a lot also. So I hope you guys will continue to stay for the journey. Please do head over to my blog, sgbudgetbabe.com. Bookmark it, that would be great. So you'll be updated of whenever I post a new article. I put a lot of thought into each article that I write.
Yes,
lots of
evidently.
hours.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, also on my socials, you want to get to know me as a person, who I am, like, my mom life and all the other aspects of what I do. Then that's where I'm over on Instagram, posting almost every other day. And I do a whole host of other stuff. So if you've been along for the journey so far, thank you for tuning in. And let's continue to see what the next 10 years will hold. I'll still be around, for sure.
I'm looking forward to see what the next 10 years will hold.
They will do this podcast again, right?
Yeah, man, definitely. Maybe the tech has evolved to some other. Maybe we'll be some VR studio doing some. You never know, right? And I think it's quite exciting where we're heading. Awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time on the One Day at a Time podcast. Peace.